Hello everyone, this is a very quick and informal video as to the file structure within Android Studio. It can be very confusing for anyone starting Android Studio, so I'm going to do a kind of a series of these videos because look, it's a very confusing environment to work with. Okay, what I'm doing here at the moment is looking at an existing project at the moment, and I'm just going to go through where the main files within Android Studio to any project, and then in the next video I will show opening up a new project and going through these steps. But when you do a project, okay, you will see down the left hand side a whole list of folders, and you're probably wondering what's in what and what does it do. Okay, so you do have an app folder, and the first folder we can see there is manifests, and within that there is an XML file called Androidmanifest Xml, and that is basically your general settings of your Android Studio app. Okay, so what was I going to say? It might have the theme, it might also have the name of the main activity, in other words the class that is driving this app. Okay, so that is within the manifests folder. For our Java code, there is a Java folder, and you can see down here there's three kind of subfolders, but the one that we are most interested in is this one here with main activity. Okay, now once I double click on that, okay, that you can see here at the top, public class main activity extends app compat activity. Now it's something similar to the main method within normal Java. An activity is a screen, okay, and there used to be only one activity class ages ago, well, only 3 or 4 years ago, but now due to Android's proliferation there's a whole rake of them. And for anyone that has done any bit of basics Java, you should see the word extends, and you know that therefore that app compat activity is a class that your class now main activity is extending, i.e. inheriting all its functionality. Now I'll stop and I'll do another video to show that later, but that is your main, excuse the pun, class. And every class or activity, get used to the word activity, represents an Android screen. Now you can have parts within that Android screen that are known as fragments. Okay, now also too, the other important folder is your resources folder. Okay, obviously you've got Gradle scripts, now I'll come to them in a few minutes, but the resources folder has a whole range of folders here. And just very quickly, drawable is basically any images that you will use. Okay, same what was I going to say with a few others, but values then are kind of that you want to hold things as constants like colors, strings, and so forth like that. But the main one we need to see is within layout. And for each activity class that you make, there will be an XML file generated, and that XML file is a representation of your screen. So if I click on this one here, activity main.xml, and if I double click on that, we can now see, okay, this is one I prepared earlier, we can now see that screen. Okay, now you're probably saying hang on a second, but it does say XML. Now this is where you can drag and drop in components, right? But you can see up here there's 3 buttons: design, split, and code. Okay, so these design and code are the 2 important ones. It's an XML file, so therefore if I click on code, I can see the relevant XML code, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I will be quite honest with you, is this: the XML and the setting up of a design of an app is bloody well difficult for any learner, and I would strongly recommend that either go to W3 Schools or Geek. There's a few other websites. Take a prototype or some bit of XML code and use that for the moment, because simply I'll just show here, right, that I'm going to another screen here. Now, if I put in, let's just say, a button, okay, it might go there, but and this is a blank activity, but sometimes they'll float and it's very hard positioning. Now, you'll see that yourselves, and all I'm saying for is that in the interim, or for the start point, okay, is that take some code that you find in the web, take it, modify it for your purposes, and then do that. The XML settings themselves are worth a series of videos in themselves, okay, with the notion that you have a whole load of different objects, but also then you also have a whole load of different layouts. What I did here very, very quickly was I made 3 linear layouts, okay, with different orientation. Okay, this orientation here is vertical, so everything is placed downwards. This one is just a blank one just to create space, and this one here, the orientation is horizontal. Okay, if I go into code here, if I click on it, you can actually see on the properties, okay, all of the properties there, and you can actually see here, okay, the linear layout, but you can also then see, okay, that if I wanted to, I can obviously click on all of the buttons and so forth like that. But also to remember that this is important. Each one of these objects can be given an ID. Make sure you give it a relevant ID. Okay, now what I intend to do in the next video is just go through and show how I can link one of these buttons to code. Very, very simply. Very simply. Okay, so until that, thank you, and talk on the next one. Okay.